So I'm going to play his Transcendental Etude number 11, which is named Harmonies du Soir, Harmonies of the Night. And he wrote them initially in his 20s and then revised it twice. There are 12 of these. He revised them twice because they were just too hard. And so this is the playable version. And keep that in mind. The originals are just ridiculous. I got the music for the original, and it's the same exact content. It's just twice as hard for no reason other than for Lizt to show off. So, Harmonies du Soir by Franz Liszt. There's stories of people fighting over his cigar butts and his gloves, and he was a real deal rock star. He was tall and handsome, and he's actually, according to legend, probably his own legend, his own, as he put it out, pre-Liszt piano concerts were done with the pianist's back to the audience, so everybody could see the hands. And Liszt allegedly felt like he was wasting his profile by doing that. So he's the reason that piano concerts are this way, because he was so vain that he wanted people to see how good looking he was while he played.
You're no exception to that rule, André.
Oh, shucks, Jimmy.
Second that one. That's why I come.
All right, we're going to shift gears now. Liszt was, he lived to be 75 years old. He was 1811 to 1876. 1886, excuse me. So by the time he was at the end of his life, music was definitely changing and leaning towards, a few years later, people like Debussy would sort of start to make their mark, and it's it went along with all of the arts at that time was in Europe was kind of leaning towards what we now call the Impressionism era. So that's like Monet and things that maybe they're a little bit out of focus and a little bit abstract. And Debussy's music is very much that. So I have 3 preludes from his second book of preludes that I'm going to play for you. The first one is titled Brouillards, which translates to fog or mist, and it's more of a mood than like a melody, So I think to me it's very descriptive music. So we'll start this with Brouillards. My French is very bad, I'm sorry. piece. I think it's very descriptive. You know, you can almost see like the mist, and then something jumps out. You know, it's cool music. Debussy. His music is challenging for all the reasons, all entirely different set of reasons than somebody like Liszt. All right, I'm going to do number 3 from the same book. It's book 2 of Debussy's Preludes. This is number 3. It's inspired by a picture that Debussy got from a friend of his who went to a winery in Spain and sent Debussy a letter with a picture of the gate, the big archway to this winery. And Debussy wrote this piece called La Puerta del Vino, the Gate of Wine. And it's sort of Debussy's French impressionistic take on sort of a little Spanish lilt. One more Debussy prelude. This is number 6 from, again, from his second book of preludes. You know, what's interesting about these pieces, they're so different, and this one is no exception. You know, with a composer like Chopin, you can recognize his style, but Debussy has so many different styles, and this particular piece is one of the things he wrote 5 or 6 pieces that had elements that are in this, which are kind of ragtime a little bit. He's got a little bit of ragtime influence in this one, and this is called General Levine, the Eccentric, and it's based on an American comic who would sort of act the fool in the entertainment clubs in Paris in the early 1900s. So, General Levine, the Eccentric. Kind of poking fun at American music right there a little bit. All right, well, I'm going to do a piece now that, as promised, I saved a little bit of Rachmaninoff for our gracious, wonderful host.
Thank you.
This is a small part of a much larger piece that is normally played with a full orchestra. Since we don't have one here, I'm just going to do the piano part, and I hope that's okay. There's going to be some melody missing, but I'll have already played it once, so you can kind of imagine what the strings sound like. And you probably will recognize this. I think this is Rachmaninoff's biggest hit. This is the 18th variation from Rhapsody on a Theme by Paganini. And I'll tell you about what the variation is afterwards. It's pretty cool the way he got to this melody. This is just some really beautiful music. So. Also used for the movie Somewhere in Time, just because it's really pretty and it's very cinematic. Rachmaninoff wrote that in 1934. It was the last major work that he wrote. It's part of a set of 24 variations on a theme, and the theme is that's the beginning of the theme. So it's a lot of variations on that. And so what he did for that one, he flipped it upside down, and he just turned the intervals upside down. So that's the variation that he did with that. And turns out it's just stunningly beautiful. So yeah, it's a really tremendous piece of music. All right, I have two more pieces to play for y'all tonight if you're still with me.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess almost 2 years ago, in October, it'll be 2 years ago, my wife and I had a son, our first kid, and it completely eliminated my practice routine. Until I found this piece of music by Shriabin, Alexander Shriabin, who's a Russian composer who he developed from like very romantic style, lush harmonies to, he really went out the box and wrote some very, like through keys and tonality out the window by the end of his life. And this is one of the earlier pieces, so it's nice and pretty. But when he was an aspiring and very promising young concert pianist, he injured his right hand practicing, And so he wrote a couple of pieces for the left hand only. And so I was able to hold my infant son and learn a piece on the piano for the left hand only, and it's really beautiful. So I hope you enjoy it. If you didn't know it, you probably wouldn't guess that it was just the one hand. There's several pieces for the left hand only. Ravel was commissioned after World War I to write a concerto for piano and orchestra by a pianist who lost his right arm in World War I. And so Ravel wrote this incredible concerto that's 25 minutes long for the left hand only. It covers the whole keyboard. It's really incredible. All right, so I have one more piece to play, and this is the piece that rendered Shriabin's right hand useless.
Broke his right arm.
This piece put him out of commission. This is the first piece that I heard my teacher in high school, who was Juilliard and Eastman trained. It was the first piece I ever heard her say was hard. So I had to learn it, and I learned it in high school. This was kind of my big competition piece, and I worked it up again for this, and it's every bit as hard as I remember it. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for hosting, and thanks to Jimmy and Catherine for making this all happen. And we'll do it again sometime. Thank you. This is Islame, Fantasy Oriental by Mili Balakriev. And I'll see you on the other side. so much. We'll see you next time.
Get some vaccinations out of the way and we'll have more. That was awesome, Dre.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Particularly the enlightenment story about the right arm got damaged.
And you're the first one that's touchable. Reach your
Oh.
You seem so warm and receiving.
What if it regained you?
Thank you.
I wonder if you regained you.
It's
No, I
a
don't think so.
monster.
I don't think so. As far as, being able to do right.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah. I know. I love the way he delivers the story of it, and it's just so evident your sincere love for it.